Okay, there we are. Welcome. A very warm welcome to BaseKX. Some familiar faces and some new faces, but you are all very welcome. So I'm Jerry Allen. I'm Director for Entrepreneurship at UCL. Tremendous privilege to be in this role. Tremendous privilege. Now, my first ask of you is this new space of social media. And our marketing colleagues have given me all these areas, which is the Twitter feed, and we are at UCL Enterprise, and we are on Facebook at UCL Enterprise, and on Instagram we're at UCL Enterprise, but on LinkedIn we're at UCL Space Innovation and Space and Enterprise. I don't know why, but we're here to spread the message. So please do tweet or take a picture, share it. We're in a new era of digital reach, and I think it's so important to share the message, encourage others. You are one of the elite at an elite university in a very elite space. An indication of how this university prioritizes this space is the beautiful team. I say that because they're all good looking, and that we're wonderful. It's wonderful to have so many, of course. I see across the whole of the higher education sector in the enterprise education space, and I've visited most of the universities in this country that do enterprise education with a quality offer, and there is no other university that gives the same investment in terms of expertise to help growing entrepreneurs. It is a huge commitment on behalf of UCL, and in my capacity, I am hugely privileged to welcome you and share the story of what's on offer for you. So we have a team of, there's 8 of us. Most of the universities I go and see, probably there's 3, 4. King's have got a group of 6. Imperial, can never count the Imperial, number of people Imperial. Oxford have a nice team, but we have a really strong, dedicated team, and I think that's a testimony to the investment the university puts into this space. So my invitation to you is use it. Use that expertise. Use it and make the most of it. And we're all on a journey. Entrepreneurship is a journey. You are looking at a failed entrepreneur. You're looking at Jerry Allen, a failure. I've started a few businesses. I think I'm up to about 9 at the moment, started 9. Of course, some have been very successful. I've sold out of a couple, made some money. But I've had some failures, I have to say that. But I learned from my failures. And so what this team and this space is about is helping you get there quicker. Learn from the expertise that these guys can share with you that says, I wouldn't do that, consider this, because they've worked it out, or they know someone that's made that sort of kind of step in that direction, and it's maybe not the best for you. So we're all learning, we're all on this journey. I count myself as still learning, but I also stand back in amazement at the expertise and the talent that appears at BaseKX. You guys, I am in absolute awe of what you do. Our job is to help you thrive and grow and be part of this community that is BaseKX. So I'd like to just take a moment and look back at some figures and share with you the sort of journey that you're on, where you're going to get to, and the company that you're in. Because you're in the company of greatness. You're in the company of success. Way back in 2016-17, 4 years ago, when I first joined this university. There were 16 startups in this space. 16. It was a bit of an experiment with the London Borough of Camden. We worked very closely. This space is called a Section 106 space. So for us to be here, it's part of an agreement with the London Borough of Camden. I'll come back to that in a moment. We work very closely with them. But I shared with the London Borough of Camden, the board that we work with, because there's management board of BaseKX, I shared with them last Monday. Is it only Monday today? A week ago. I shared with them this slide. Because 4 years ago, this was an experiment. Will it work? Won't it work? Will they create businesses? You know, it's a risky venture, but just look where we've come from. This is nationally published auditable data. It goes, each year we publish data, we submit data to the Higher Education, Business and Community Interaction Survey, one of the government agencies that collects central data. And to our great delight, last year we shared with that agency, we'd created 69 startups in this space, a 330% growth. You're on that journey. But more importantly, being part of an incubator, being part of this space, will increase your probability of survival and success. Our job is to make you thrive and grow, be successful. Being in this space, with the support that you can access, that will increase the probability, and it shows there. 4 years ago, there were only 60 of those businesses that had survived more than 3 years, going back with historic data. Last year, 128. So your chance of success is increased by being part of this community at BaseKX. But more than that, much more than that, that's only part of the picture. You're going to create jobs. We know you'll create jobs. We can already see that the people that are a year or so behind you have created jobs. Way back in 2016, we created, our startups created 473 jobs. With last year, I have to look at nearly 1,600 jobs. That's phenomenal. That's an economic powerhouse that comes out of UCL. That represents the innovations that go back into our community. But more than that, you're tapping into a machine, an ecosystem that will help you raise money. So we know back in 2016 that the startups here raised about 11 million, 11.8 million pounds in external investment. Not friends and family, external investment. And last year was a quiet year. Look at the way the graph dropped a little bit. We were down to 40, just 44. Previous year, it was nearly 70. Phenomenal access to an ecosystem that helps raise money. A few years ago, the epicenter of graduate startups and the cluster was around Old Street. They called it Silicon Roundabout in London. That sort of space across in Old Street. It still thrives. But over the last few years, people have whispered in my ear and said, you know, the smart money is moving towards Camden, moving towards King's Cross. They're looking to see the flourishing, high-growth, scalable enterprises of tomorrow. So the investment community, their lens is in this space. You'll see people walk through the door. You'll meet them. You'll see on the 15th of September, date for your diary, where our startups are pitching at London Demo Day, and we're hosting it this year. It's virtual, but you are very welcome to participate in it, to see. And we expect probably a couple of hundred international investors looking at startups to invest in. And you're tapping into that infrastructure that will help you build and grow and develop your business. But more importantly, there's another bonus on this. It's not just about jobs, it's not just about growth. It's about building this community. And that's what you contribute to. It's about building the BaseKX community. And it's just kicking off. It's really kicking off. We've got We've come from about 147 people, businesses that were in that community, to nearly 260 that are in that space now. And you're joining that powerhouse, that network, those people that can help you in your ventures, that can share with you their learning. Try this, try that, talk to so-and-so. What about? Because this is a community. You will get from this community. And there's a phrase that says, give as get. And I want you to give. You will receive lots of help and support, without doubt. That's already started. But I want you to give as well. Just take that theme with you, that this is part of a wider community where we all chip in, where you can become, you will be mentored, but in years to come you can be a mentor. You can give back. You can share your contacts, your networks. You can buddy someone else. I'm going to come to that in a moment. So there's kind of an evolving space, this ecosystem that is BaseKX, that you take from in the early days. But I want you to lodge here. Jerry said, remember, I can give as well. And I want to float something with you now that I haven't said to any other group yet. It's about employing people. We're very privileged to be at a world-leading research-intensive university. And we're hosted by the London Borough of Camden. We're hosted by this community. And yet, not 100 yards from here, you'll find people in housing that are out of work, that are struggling to find work. You'll find people that don't have the same good fortune that you have, the same privileges you access. So I'd like you to think and seed the idea of who can you employ that lives locally when you're ready to take on a member of staff. Yes, you might think I need the brightest and the best from so-and-so, and you might start that way, but I'd like you to think about what you can give back to the community in Camden, because the space is changing. Our relationship with Camden is growing. You've seen the figures I've shared with them. And we're now at a point where we've got lots of growing enterprises. And I just want to share with the entrepreneurs that are coming in now the start of a message about who can you employ? Whose life can you transform? Food for thought, food for thought. So on my right-hand side of my slide here, I wanted to dwell upon a couple of points. There's lots of really exciting things happening at BaseKX at the moment. A couple of years ago, in fact 3 years ago, I started to look at the programs that we work with, the support programs we offer to our university students. And over in the corner of the hatchery at the time, I went and sat with a few startups and I did a little survey of the 12 that were around, and 9 of those were PhD founders. And I thought, okay, well, what do we do to support doctoral students? And the answer came back, nothing. They're in with the rest of the mix of the support that we provide. So we started a program called Spiro. You might have heard of it. You might have been on it if you did your PhD here or are doing your PhD here. And the Spiro program just took off. Over the 3 years that we've run Spiro, we've now had 1,100 doctoral students participate in Spiro. And it's around developing a mindset. It's about thinking about enterprise and alternative career trajectories. And Spiro now is a model, a blueprint for other universities in the sector, rather like BaseKX. People are looking and saying, okay, how did you do that? How can we copy that? How can we use the same plan? And I sit on a group which starts to think about ways in which we can transform policies in this country. We were asked a couple of weeks ago, about 10 days ago, we were asked if we had any ideas that would be boosters to the country to accelerate entrepreneurship. And I wrote into the colleague at BASE, which is the Business Innovation Skills and something or other. I should know this, but I forgot. And I shared with them the Spiro model. And we'll see what comes back, whether it becomes whether it's taken up and moved forward. But we've already found that our colleagues at University of Manchester are running Spiro with us. So we've got a project that's working with that. So that's one thing. Spiro is running. The next thing that's about to launch is this postdoctoral space. We have at UCL, we have 10,000 people that are either doing PhD or writing up their PhD at any one time. Phenomenal cohort, biggest in the country. So it's incumbent upon us to kind of test new ways of working with different audiences. So we're now starting to work with postdoctoral students. No, postdoctoral people, so postdoctoral and early career researchers. So you probably start to find that the community in the hatchery starts to grow with different types of people from the university. I've got one member of staff coming in with their enterprise that's keen to join us fairly soon. And I put the note on there about our value to Camden because I want us to keep thinking about what we as a community give back to Camden. We're running internships for the first time this year, paid internships sponsored by our friends from Santander Bank, who are actually helping interns in startups. We've never done that before. So this might be something that you can do in years to come. The other thing to highlight and flag up, I want each one of you today to give me a 30-second video. The space we're in entrepreneurship is around storytelling. With your 20-second vignette, I'll tell you in a moment what we need on the next slide. That will go to our social media marketing people, and they'll use that and they'll drip feed that into the social media marketing that goes across the whole university to start to encourage and inspire others. I can have a go at that. I want to be at BaseKX. It's already competitive, but we want to grow. We want to retain the quality. Remember, you're privileged. Retain the quality, but increase the quantity. Everybody's looking to do that across the sector, and we're moving there in leaps and bounds. And I'm going to insist that this afternoon you give me 20 seconds of your time with your story. So, and the story goes like this. Your video in 20 seconds is introduce yourself, only to my phone. I will hold it up. So think about what you're going to say, 20 seconds. What you studied at UCL. If you've got a founder or you're on your own, that's fine. And one sentence about the business. This is your pitch to camera. You will do this a zillion times. You might want to take a picture of that so you've got it as an aid memoir in a moment. Because I'm going to invite you to do that as soon as we can in quick fire succession. So, and I'd like you to say why you've joined BaseKX. I'd like you to mention BaseKX. It helps with the marketing. Messaging is very important. Why are you here? That's your opportunity. You'll find you'll be pitching in a very condensed fashion. You've already done it to get here. But I'm going to harness your pitch skills in a moment. So, you know, it's easy to do, but let's get that done. Let's get that captured so I can share that tomorrow with our marketing team, and then we can start to share your message, broadcast your business. Fantastic. I said you're in the footsteps of greatness. Let me show you some examples of greatness. I'm really proud of these guys. I know in the years to come, I'll be really proud of you. It's a bit spiritual, I'm sorry. I just get carried away. I am so engaged in this. This is beautiful. The success story you can see with President Bill Clinton on the left-hand side were 4 second-year students at the time that sat in this room and picked up the challenge on a Saturday morning of how they can use energy in the world more efficiently. And that challenge was part of the HALT challenge to every university in the planet. There were 200,000 institutions that entered this challenge. So you think of how many students in those 200,000 universities or institutions across the whole globe. And the guys that were here, the challenge was, how can you use energy more efficiently in the world for betterment of society? And the guys you see on the screen, for second year students, thought, we've got an idea about drying rice more efficiently with a solar-powered machine. They nurtured the idea, we worked with them. To cut a long story short, they won the UK round and got shortlisted to the top 40 in the world that went to an accelerator in August of 2018 at Ashridge Castle in Berkhamsted. Beautiful place if you ever want to go there. Marvellous place. The home of the Ashridge Business School. Really good. Lovely peacocks, fantastic scenery, just really nice for a picnic. Took my daughter there over the summer, really nice. So they won the UK round and they went through to the Ashridge Accelerator. 40 of the top pitches pitched every week, peer learning, peer group learning, what you're going to be doing, what are you doing. And they got shortlisted the top 6 in the world and went to the United Nations, September the 15th, 2018. I was fortunate enough to sit in the audience, this massive auditorium for UCL students on the stage there. The lights, it was just huge. Really exciting, nerve-wracking. And they pitched and they won first prize. UCL students won first prize. The first time we'd ever entered this challenge with their idea. And they're now based in the hatchery with you, trading. And it's predicted that their innovation will transform the lives of 25 million people in the world. That's impact. That's what we do. That's what's in your grasp. Take it in. But also, it goes on. I'd like you to think about the what next for you, because we've had uncharted success with Y Combinator. Y Combinator, if you don't know, is the world's leading accelerator program, which is based in San Francisco. 3 years ago, we had our first business that went out to Y Combinator. First ever. Last year, we had 3. That's what you're tapping into. I want you to be thinking, can I get to Y Combinator? Can I get to that accelerator? Out to Y Combinator, Airbnb, Dropbox, Stripe, household names. Is it your name next? Why not? Why not? Phenomenal success, but only last week, here's a lovely success story. Only last week, the girls from Afrocentrics that were here in 2016 were awarded $1.2 million investment dollars, I think it is, from Google. Black hair products, cool investment. And then the guys at Unibody got $20 million, 14 million pounds investment in their business. Unibody's in 425 institutions across the world, helping students interact and grow and interact with their students and find out more. Lovely, cool product. Let's just dwell a moment in the closing minutes about the hatchery. Hatchery is a journey. Here's our latest thinking in the hatchery. This is fresh off the press today. So hatchery is traditionally has been a couple of years or 12 months, 18 months, we've been experimenting, and then we kind of invite you to go elsewhere because we can't cope. We now want you to stay. You're going to be part now, start of the hatchery for a 24-month long journey. To start with, there's an intensive period of learning. So you'll be consumed by some learning. Some of you are already in that. There's another cohort starting in September. They'll start and they'll go to that first 16 weeks of intensive learning, which will then be followed by a period up to 2 years where you apply the learning, where you develop your MVP, where you validate what you're doing, where you work with your customers and start to establish your base. Along that, we'll start to help you with investment readiness. and investment workshops. You'll build your networks. At the end of 2 years, you then think, okay, what's next for me? So you've got an option at the end of 2 years. You can stay in the hatchery because we've now created three kind of tiers. The first bronze tier is, okay, I haven't quite got my investment in, I've not quite got my income coming in, but I'd like to stay part of the hatchery. That's fine. You can then have sweat equity. I use the term liberally. You can work your way, you can give back, become a buddy, become a mentor, run some events in the hatchery. I'll run to the next slide. Give back. So the hatchery at that point is give back. We want everyone to give back. But here's some thoughts. And this is really, this is an experiment. We don't know whether it'll work or not, we hope it will. To give you the opportunity of contributing back, to think, I'd like to run an event on this, and I'm going to run it. I'm going to log the hours, and then we haven't yet worked out how you will log the hours, but you'll report the hours back in and say, I've done my so many hours, and this is what I did for my so many hours, so you can stay with us. It might be organise a peer group, run a lunch and learn, help Terry with something, because there's always stuff that needs doing here. Terry is in the corner, he's a fine upstanding young man. I use the term liberally, he's mostly just sitting down, resting, taking it easy. Yeah, there you go. We're trying to work out how we can help you stay and work your way and give back into the community. But there could be, you might be at a point where you can then afford to become a, what have I called it, silver hot desk. So you have access, you come back in your hot desk, use the hot desk facility. That's fine. It costs you 150 quid a month plus VAT, and you have a team 3 people. That's fine. We'll work it out. Or you might think, okay, I'm now growing at such a point, I can be a gold member. And the guys across the far side, in the other side of the startup office, they're paying for their desks. It's a subsidised rate. It's £300 per desk per month. That's been the rate for the last 6 years. It's going to be the rate for the next 3 years. It's fixed. You try and find a desk in London for £300 per desk per month with access to the infrastructure, where you can use the university branding, where you can access the UKRI Edge team, which will help with scalable fast-track growth. So lots of stuff there we're launching today. I should have given a big fanfare, shouldn't I, about how that all happens. So bronze, silver and gold membership to stay and build that community. So my point is, where are you going? Where are you headed? Make sure you tell the world about it. Please use our sort of social media kind of thingies, which I should know. There's Twitter and there's Facebook and there's LinkedIn and there's another one, Instagram. But please use the hashtag share the story. I think that's all. Probably I'm going to pause there and stop. Unless there's any burning questions, just please put your hand up, introduce yourself, and if there's a question, then we'll take it from there. If not, I'll start videoing. Right, I'm going to take the first video. Who'd like to come and do their first video? Terry, would you like to press pause on the camera?